All right, stay tuned. Good Saturday morning, guys. Welcome to Exit Strategies Radio Show. I am your host, Colin J. Millette, broker and owner of Exit Realty Low Country Group in beautiful North Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, if this is your first time or one of your first times listening to this show, you already know what we do. No, you don't, because it's your first time. Our mission here is very simple. That's to empower our community, the African American community, through financial literacy and real estate education, guys. We are legacy building. That is what we do. So, guys, when you're out there making those things happen, when you're making the moves to and fro, and you're looking and you're thinking down the road about what these things that you do today will do for your family on tomorrow, I want you to put a hashtag behind that thing that says legacy building, because that is what you are about and that is what you are doing. Yes. Guys, you can catch us on social media. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook. Yes, you can. That's Exit Strategies Radio Show on both of those places, guys. You can catch me personally. You can follow me on Instagram, Colwyn_the Real Estate Preacher. Please check us out there. Guys, we post content. We share encouragement. We put words out there. I ain't gonna necessarily say of wisdom. I'll let you be the judge of that. But we put words out there to help hopefully motivate and encourage and inspire people to do something more than what they have done, to do what they can do on the way to what they should have. Does that make sense? So if you follow me with any of that, please make sure that you check us out, follow us. You can also find me on Facebook, Colwyn J. Millette. Hey, there's a Colwyn J. Millette II. Hey, don't pay that guy no attention. And, we'll be able to, move forward and go from there. So don't follow that dude. I'm kind of joking. That's my son, guys. But please make sure that you check us out, you follow us. Most importantly, share the content. I always tell people, I always tell our listeners, sometimes what we talk about here on air is for you. Sometimes it is for someone else that you know. And the only way they're going to get it is if you become the vessel to deliver it. Is that all right? So look here. I appreciate you all tuning in today, as always. So, guys, we are on what could be considered the tail end of this pandemic. I mean, granted, there's always going to be things lingering out there. I mean, let's just be truthful and let's be just direct about it. This is a disease. It's an illness. It is quote unquote not going away. However, we are all working to get it quote unquote under control, if you will. We're all exercising our reasonable cautions in whatever degree that may mean to you, to help to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. But we're working to try to get things quote unquote to whatever that new normal is going to be. And I can't say back to normal, because we will never quote unquote be the same again. However, we can always be better. Yeah, I'm gonna let that pause and sink in there just for a second there, because we can be. So as we work to do that, we want to continue from our show, from our platform, we want to continue to share with you and encourage you. Today's show, we're going to talk about some mindset things, about a mindset of abundance and not of scarcity. This is something that was delivered to me in a devotional this past week, and trying to share. So, for those of you who are watching me, I've shifted around in my home. I'm now sitting back in my home office. You guys have seen me sitting at my kitchen table, I'm sorry. So we kind of been shifting around here in the house, so to speak. And today I'm sitting in my home office recording this show. So I'm not at my office. I'm at my other office, which, there's a few of those. There's a mobile office as well, guys, that vehicle that I ride around in. Sometimes we have to do the business right there wherever we can. Is that all right? But we want to talk today again about that mindset. Oftentimes what we have is a direct derivative of our mindset and what we are willing to go out to achieve. We have this conversation often about, the way that you think is the way that you are. And, I'm always challenging the people that are around me in their thought processes, in their mindset, because we want to make sure that we are strong, if that makes sense. I just had this conversation not too long ago, and I've had it a number of times with my children, but I just had it recently with excuse me, one of my children about the people that are around. If you find yourself, quote unquote, the smartest or the most achieved person within your group, you need to find you a different group. You need to have people around you who challenge you to do better, to do more, and encourage you and motivate you. Otherwise, you're not you don't have a circle of friends, you have a cage if you're the only one who is giving or providing that encouragement and insight, and there's no one else in your quote unquote circle to feed off of. And I don't mean that you got just one group of friends. You could have multiple groups of friends, but if you have multiple groups of friends and you are that person that only gives, does that make sense? That you're the only motivator, you're only encourager, you're the only person that is being looked up to, if you will, within those circles. You need to find you some different circles. And that's just a real conversation, guys, because homeowners glean homeowners. People that are around people that buying houses, making power moves, increasing and growing in their education. When they're around people, have people in their circles that are like that, they tend to achieve more. However, when your friends and everyone that you hang out with only does the same things that you do, and look here, I know many of you guys are parents, so I know that we're preaching to the choir, so to speak, right now. But I want to say that you all have to consider that as well. You talk to your children about their friends, but I want to challenge you to think about yours. If your friends don't own houses, don't own rental property, aren't working, don't have good credit or working to improve their credit, if they're not, making sure they're educated or educating others, if they're not doing those works that you want to be a part of, then you may need to look around and say, okay, look, who in my circle, if no one's in my circle that does that, let me figure out who I can add into my circle, who I can associate with that's going to challenge me in that thought process. So look, I want to take a little bit of liberty and get back to the real estate part of what we always usually start with. And I want to provide you with a tidbit of an update that is reflective and echoes what we've been talking about and saying to you guys on air. This past week, one of my lending partners essentially posted what I would say is somewhat of a notice of the questions that people will be asked as they go to make purchases, as they go to move up in homes during this time period, quote unquote, during this season, if you will, of the market. And one of those questions, as we've talked about as an intro to our show for the past I say several weeks, but past few weeks, has been this conversation about forbearance. Every week for the past 3 to 4 weeks, I've had a conversation, at least 1 to 2 conversations a week regarding forbearances, where you defer the payment on your mortgage, what impact that's going to have. And I've cautioned everyone from the very beginning, look, don't automatically do it. If you need it, that's one thing, but just doing it just because someone said that you can, and you're thinking you're going to get a grace period on your mortgage or what have you, that may not be wise. And now here we are in the latter weeks of those conversations, and now it's starting to come out. Well, look, if you applied for and got a forbearance on your mortgage and you're planning to sell your home and go buy another one, that forbearance is going to prevent you from buying the next house. It's going to prevent you from qualifying for the next house because you just recently had a forbearance on your mortgage. 12 months of consistent payments is what most lenders are looking for. So there you go. So this conversation, guys, over the past couple of weeks has gradually, what we talked about as a possibility and probability in the very beginning is now becoming the reality. It is now, okay, here we are. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Okay, yeah, here we are. This is what's going to happen. So I'm challenging you all to share this information. Some of you have family members who immediately, just because file for forbearance. Some of you may have done it yourself. For those of you who apply for the forbearance, if you have applied for the forbearance and it kicked in this month, you can still make the payment. Just because you got the forbearance doesn't mean that you don't have to make the payment, or you shouldn't make the payment. So if you plan to buy within the next few months, move up or what have you, sell a house, move, Please, please, please make sure that you guys go ahead and get May's payment in. Go ahead and get it in. If just because you got a forbearance but you didn't utilize it, at that point in time, it doesn't reflect negatively because, again, you've made the payment. So let's make sure that we educate ourselves. Let's stop following like sheep, if you will, and stop following the masses who just randomly and haphazardly doing things and don't understand what the potential unintended, if you will, consequence of it is. We've had this conversation. This is something that I've been sharing with my agents over the past few weeks as I've encountered them, either in conversation at the office, in conversation by phone. It's a message I've been getting out to them so they in turn can get out to you to say, look, we need to understand that there is going to be some changes that will come about. There will be consequences unintended to some of the things that we're talking about doing otherwise, or we may enter into otherwise. So please keep that in mind. I always put this information out there. Some of you have questions. Some of you have questions and you're afraid to ask. I want to share with you point blank, very directly. You can contact me. Our conversation is our conversation. So please reach out. If you have a question, you need to have some understanding. You need to, be informed of what your options are, what you can do, and then to help you, in order to help you determine what you should do. Now, I'm not going to tell you what you should do, okay? The furthest I will go is tell you what I may do possibly if I was in that situation. But that is never, ever, ever a conversation about what it is or direct communication to you about what you should do. Whatever you decide to do is your decision, your choice. You have to understand, though, if I do this, this could happen. If I do that, this could happen, so forth and so on. So we want to make sure that we always are giving you information to assist with that. So you can reach me 843-225-3759. That is my direct for my office. That's my direct dial. If you call me over the weekend, you may or may not get an answer. But if you don't, you can text that number as well. That's 843-225-3759. That is my direct number to access me. It'll find me wherever I am, provided I'm connected to some internet somewhere. All right. So guys, look, we've obviously been straight into the show today, getting this information out to you. I'm getting a signal now from our producer for our first break. So look, it is time for us to set the little pause button. I want you to come back, and I want you to come right back because you're listening to Exit Strategies Radio Show. And we are back, guys. Second segment, Exit Strategies Radio Show. I'm your host, Colin J. Mullett, broker owner of Exit Realty Low Country Group in beautiful, getting the throat cleared over here, North Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, if this is your first time listening to the show, you are in for a treat. Yeah, I'm trying to get them octaves up. I think I'm a decent tenor. I may sound like a bass at times, but our mission here is very simple, as to empower our community, the African-American community, through financial literacy and real estate education. That's what we do. We legacy build. When you're out there making those things happen, we always ask you to put a hashtag on that says legacy building, because as we stroll and troll, if you will, on Facebook and other social media platforms, we want to be able to recognize those people that understand what the mission is, and that is to create an inheritance for your children, your children's children, and so forth and so on, as our word has told you. So look, we started off the show and took a shift during the first segment to kind of do a quick recap and talk about some of the things that you as listeners have been asking us about, and letting you know that we're here to answer your questions relating to forbearance and other mortgage workout options. But we want to get away from that because we started off the show talking about this abundance and the scarcity mindset. We want to work with you and encourage you that, look, I'm going to take a little bit of liberty. And, you know, I can take a little bit of liberty. I'm a show host, hey, right? We have a mindset oftentimes of scarcity, that our God does not have control and will not meet our needs and some of our desires. I say some. The word doesn't necessarily specify it that way. But we have this mindset and mentality that we can't. We are limiting ourselves because of those who are around us. We are being influenced by those who may not even be directly associated or affiliated with us. We are hindering ourselves because we are unwilling to try. The whole purpose of this show is to give information to our listeners, to our community, to encourage them, to empower them. You know, day one, this show has been a manifestation, if you will, and an additional vehicle and mechanism to assist people, vehicle to deliver hope, and a mechanism to assist people in growing themselves. Our mission here, again, is to legacy build. That's what we do. That's what we're talking about, to help you all grow and think beyond today and look at tomorrow. But from day one, the wordplay of exit strategies has always rested on me this way. It has rested on me as being this. Exit is an action word. It requires you to do something. It is the motion or the action, let's say it that way, because it is an action. It is the action of going from this place to that place, out of one into another. It is the noun of a way to escape. Oftentimes, we find people somewhere where they don't want to be. Maybe you're stuck in an apartment when we talk about real estate. So you're stuck in an apartment or in a rental or whatever it is, wherever it is, and you don't want to be stuck there. You want to have freedom in your own place, in your own home. So taking that exit or here's that action, making that exit is what carries you over and gets you through and gets you to where you want to be. So maybe from the financial standpoint, you don't have a handle, you don't have savings, you don't see how you're going to be able to retire. You've heard on this show that Social Security is not an end all and not retirement. Social Security is meant to be a supplement, a very small portion of what your financial portfolio looks like. I talk to people within my own family who are relying and looking at Social Security as being the end all means for them to be able to live after they can't work anymore or get to an age where they just physically don't fit or mesh to be able to continue to work. And they're looking at Social Security as the end all be all as far as carrying them forward and being able to pay their bills monthly. The cost of living is rising. Social Security doesn't rise to match it. So I'm challenging you, my listeners, I'm challenging you, if you're at that age where you're already in this situation, okay, look, you may not be able to change that today, but I want you to influence the generation behind you, your children, your children's children, and teach them to create their own wealth so they're not reliant upon anyone else to do it for them. They can buy and own homes. I meet a lot of seniors that have never owned a home. They're relying on Social Security and they're just getting by. They're living in affordable housing units and dependent upon other people to do things for them. We don't have to have not only our elders in these situations, we in turn don't have to find ourselves in these situations. So I want you to operate from an abundance mindset. And abundance, there is more than enough opportunity. There's more than enough out here for you to make a living. There's more than enough for you to gain and create wealth. It's more than enough out here. I need you to start saying that with me. It is more than enough instead of saying there's not enough. We keep talking about how we don't have enough money for this. We don't have enough money for that. We don't want to have that mantra in our mind. It's a chant that we always give. We don't have, we don't have. Stop that. I'm going to challenge you on this day going forward that in all your conversations, you always have the image of there is more than enough. To be frank about it, there is more than enough availability of funding for people to get mortgages. There is more than enough resources to help people get their credit in order if they need to, in order for them to make a home purchase. There is more than enough willingness for people to purchase and own their own homes and create legacies and build for their children. There's more than enough resources to help them to be able to do that if they need down payment assistance. There is more than enough. And I need you and want you. And I say I need, and I want this intently because I am tired of witnessing us in this struggle. We can do better, we can do different, and most importantly, we can do more to make sure that we secure our position and our future going forward for our people, for our generation, for all those people who are sitting here listening to me right now. I want to say that there is more than enough. You all should look at that and consider that in the big picture. There is more, again, than enough. See, we oftentimes witness what somebody else is doing. We watch, we are dismayed because they achieve something, and we have this mindset of scarcity, and we don't believe because they achieved it that we can achieve it as well. We think there is a limit. We think there's only one house out there that can be bought at a time, so to speak. We only think that, okay, when my friend bought a house, I can't buy one. Or my friend got their life and their credit together, I can't do that. My friend went to school and got a degree and learned more and got this fabulous job making six figures or however much money they're making that's well above what you're doing. You think you can't do it because there was only one degree that could be given out at a time at the university. You follow me? We have this mindset and mentality of scarcity, and we hinder ourselves. There ain't nobody else holding you back. You're holding your own self back. And I want to challenge you today to do different, and do better, and most importantly, to achieve more. Again, there is more than enough. We need to title this message today, More Than Enough. There's more than enough out there for you. So I want to challenge you who may be thinking or considering, okay, how am I going to do this? Hey, some of you want investment property. I've had a number of conversations coming week. We're going to be following up with some other people that we've spoken to a few weeks ago about resources and opportunities and ways we can help them to develop and grow. We're excited about that. So we'll be following up with some of you guys this week. So if you're listening, you heard us, you talked to us maybe over the past couple of weeks about funding for investment properties, you're ready to make some deals happen, you will hear from us this week. Reach out. In the meantime, if you got questions, we already gave you that number. We'll give it to you again, 843-225-3759. We also get the standby office number. Either way, you can reach us. So guys, look, we just got the second signal. Yep, for that second break. You know, and you know. So look here, I appreciate you guys listening to us right here at Exit Strategies. Y'all hold tight. We'll be right back. And we're back, guys. Last segment, Exit Strategies Radio Show. Okay, guys, we went a little long in that second one, guys. So we're trying to get this message out to you and give you this mindset and this reality. There's more than enough out here. For those of you who've been thinking about starting a business, again, thinking about purchasing investment property, thinking about buying your own home, thinking about getting your credit in order, thinking about going back to school, whatever it is, to further yourself, to grow yourself, to show your children and your children's children that it can be done. Because sometimes we get off track, we get off kilter. Maybe, you know, I ain't trying to convict nobody, because look here, we all in this thing here together. So look here, we going together. We going up the mountain together. But some of us have this mindset and mentality because we started having children young, or maybe we started having children late. Maybe we didn't finish school. Maybe we had to go support the family early. And we kind of got into this period of disbelief and embraced the mayhem and the chaos that associates with failure. We embrace that instead of embracing success and a mindset that says that we can do and have more. There is a different mindset. The people that are successful in this life, in this world, that you sometimes admire, they have their eyes focused on God, and God is a God of success, not of failure. They have their eyes focused on Him, and they get their actions and, most importantly, their belief to align with that, and they move forward. Those people are oftentimes the people that we all see on television, we hear sometimes on radio, we read about them in magazines. Those people have that mindset and mentality, and they got everything to line up because they allow their belief to overshadow all fear instead of their fear overshadowing every belief. We have to do differently and do better. And I keep bringing a message like this again. This is actually one of those days where Corwin _ the real estate preacher on Instagram is really telling you how it is, because I want you to understand and know that there is a abundance that's available to you. There is a plethora, for those of you who know what that word means, of opportunity for you. We don't have to sink ourselves into quote unquote the abyss. We don't have to we don't have to fall and lay down and say that we're giving up. We can always have, do, and therefore achieve more. There is more than enough. And I want to share that with you on today. So as always, guys, we are getting down to the nitty gritty, to the last in the little piece of this show. I appreciate you. We've been extra busy this past week. Several new buyer consultations. So new buyers coming out into the market I've met with thus far. Listings, several new listing appointments I've held this week as well. So I'm excited about what we have coming to the market. I'm excited for our buyers who are entering the market. You guys all know that we operate as we believe. So as I always say to you, thank you so much for listening to Exit Strategy Radio Show. We will most certainly see you next week. But in the meantime, as I always say to you, I love you, and I'm going to see you all out there in them streets. Y'all take care. All right, guys, look, we're circling up. We're closing up over here. Thank y'all so much for being a part and listening to us on today. As always, you know what I say. I love you, and I'm going to see you guys out there in the streets.